Hey guys, it's Merrick coming to you not live. And as you can hear by the sounds of the birds in the window and everything like that, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you please be my neighbor? But anyway, besides the point, welcome to another game and chat. This is a somewhat, I don't know, it's a series. I don't know, it's just random ass videos that I make that really are just my thoughts kind of like bundled together in a video format as I play a good old video game. And today, I want to ask this question. What the fuck happened to Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, I seriously don't know. Like, I grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh as a young child. Like, I feel a lot of people have because it was around. It was one of those things that people played and enjoyed and just had a good old time with way back when. And that sort of love continued all the way up, through GX, and I think it was. I don't even know how do you describe I guess the first series, maybe season 1, season 2, and whatnot. You know how that sort of shit goes, right? It's hard to tell with like shows like that, but anyway, as I was saying, I have been playing the game for a while. I remember the old rules very fondly. Not like super cool slash good with some of the modern rules. Link summoning is just I don't fucking know. I don't particularly care for it. Same goes for whatever the fuck pendulum summoning was and all sorts of other shit that was going on. So, point is, what the fuck happened to Yu-Gi-Oh? I don't know. I feel a lot of conflict. Because Yu-Gi-Oh is a card game that is interesting, to say the least. I feel as though that through open sort of sourcing, in that, it's just the way other people play out of like a tournament setting, I guess the best way to put it. You could just, I wouldn't say craft your own card game. I'd say maybe like, play with your preferred rules is the best way to go with the terms. It's more along the lines of like a IMO. I just prefer like more classic rules to the game. Up until I'd say like maybe early XYZ summoning, because I can at least understand how that works. But yeah, the long and short of it, right? I feel as though Yu-Gi-Oh has evolved to a point where it's very, 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 very interesting to try to see where this sort of goes. Because I feel as though it's like some sort of whatchamacallit. How much more power creep can something get before it just kind of like, ends up crashing? The reason why I bring this up is because I feel as though I'm definitely not alone in saying this, how I miss the old rules and shit. But there definitely is someone out there who just does not like people saying that. And yes, I can agree that there are some cards and like, decks that were, I would say, autopilot-y way back when and whatnot. But even so, there's still a lot more to it than just being like this autopilot type game and whatnot. Like, I would like to live the anime when it comes to a duel. I like a good battle. I like good strategy, shit like that. Rather than just like, you play 5 cards on like, your first 2 turns and then game's over. Like, I've seen this happen a lot. I've experienced it in like a bit more casual, competitive play. I guess is the best way to swing that one. I've not been in tournaments, but I've been in some game shop games, and it's just like, well then, this is a bit strange, is it not? I lost almost immediately, and I didn't even know what the fuck happened. And I'm just playing a classic E-Hero deck, because why not? I like the elemental heroes and shit. But is this all of a sudden now that I decide to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! A bit more than usual, making a whole sort of dedicated video to it? I guess the best way to put it. Well, where do you think I got the Merrick? Well, where do you think my name sort of inspiration came from? Well, yeah, one was Star Wars, of course, but the other was Merrick Ishtar from Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, I don't know, I like Yu-Gi-Oh! I like Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot as a kid. And that's kind of my sticking point. So, my problem is like, I had a boomer moment, a couple days ago, right? And this was somewhat helped out by the fact that, past 2 days, I played a bit more of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Where I got to play as, like, we sort of made a rule system that was somewhat similar to the classic rules. I guess is the best way. It's, like, close, but maybe a little off because we were still trying to relearn some of the older rules based off of, like, the older cards and crap like that. Literally trying to read tiny print on small cards is a pain in the ass. So, the point is that, like, it was rough around the edges, but for the longest time, I had one of the best duels I've ever had in a long time. Several, in fact, even though I lost on a couple of occasions. Point is that, like, for some reason, I was just having fun again. When I wasn't having fun dealing with, like, a lot of the other sort of modern decks. This all kind of started when I bought, before my Boomer episode here, I bought a $35 card lot on a whim. And in that card lot, I pulled several Monster Reborns. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I remember when these cards were not banned, and it wasn't, like, super duper bad to have. It's literally just like, oh, you get your monster back on the field, and it's not hard to destroy it again. Plus, if it's in attack mode, you deal damage equal to the fucking, half of whatever, depending on, like, the pound, you deal damage depending on, like, what's the, subtraction from the attack points of the monsters and whatnot. So, it's more or less, like, it's not hard, and it's not hard to, keep a monster out. It's not hard to destroy one either. It's just not hard to get rid of monsters in some cases, though most of the card game is now based off of monster effects rather than, like, So, I was having a chat with Zig, and Eugene hopped in too. And, we just kind of, like, went on about, like, oh, yeah, like, remember this? This was fun in Yu-Gi-Oh! This was fun, yeah, too. Then, just having this good old little conversation. I'm like, yeah, like, we sound like fucking boomers now, don't we? Yeah, right? So, we just had a fun time talking about that shit. And, we got to play it on 4th of July and everything like that. So it was like, oh, sweet. We're actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first time in, I don't know how long. And this is where this sort of came up. And I would like to hear consensus, because this is the whole, my whole point with, like, these gaming chats. What do you guys think? What is your opinion? I honestly think that everything started to go downhill with Pendulums at first, and then Links. Because I think they were trying to control the power creep somehow, but it's just hard to sort of, like, see. I do think that the power creep started to come in a bit more when XYZ summons became a bigger thing in the series. At first, they seemed cool. You got a somewhat weaker monster, but with pretty decent effects, and that was the trade-off. And you can use them with fusions, you can use them with, like, synchros, and yeah, this definitely works. Problem is that, no, it didn't work out, because eventually they just became, like, uber powerful fusions and shit with limited effects, but still high power attack, and basically they became a pain in the ass to deal with for the most part. But that's just me. And then, Pendulums happen, and I'm just like, what? And then Links happen, which is, I somewhat get, but I just don't care, is the real thing about it. But I feel as though that it sort of, like, goes hand in hand for the most part with everything. But, yeah, like, let's just say the conversation shifted to what felt like being on a, whatchamacallit, a psychiatrist chair, just talking about, like, it all started with it all started with the XYZ monsters. But that's besides the point. Not to mention, I feel as though the anime has gone, like, downhill somewhat in terms of just, like, wow, everybody's taking this seriously again somewhat. Considering, I think, is Vrain still the recent anime? I don't know. I don't keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Anymore, let's be fair here. I just, like, you know, play some of the older shit, and that's kind of it now. But, yeah, like, what, like, Vrains, I remember it started with a dude getting, like, eaten, and then his eyeballs in, like, the dual disc or whatever, the new protagonist or whatnot. And I'm just like, okay. And I know that, like, the original series was, like, insane, where it's like, I'm going to kill you over a children's card game. You what? You know what I mean? I don't know. Shit be fucking wild with Yu-Gi-Oh! But the point is that, like... Actually, no, I do want to bring up one other thing, though, about the freaking... Remember, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a show about, like, sending people to the Shadow Realm. Fucking, like, dudes, like, a giant, like, evil king Zork from the Shadow Realm with, like, a dragon penis. And, like, a whole sort of other shit, like, going on with, like, the pharaohs playing this card game back in, like, the ancient times. People's souls getting stolen to revive dead loved ones or, like, barter with, like, the evils of, like, duel monsters or whatever the fuck. Because Pegasus is a crazy dude who loves cartoons. He's literally a fucking, whatchamacallit. I don't know. He's a dude. Pegasus is like, Yu-Gi boy, I love cartoons and, shit. And then I'm going to steal your soul. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like Grimm, maybe a bit from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, but that might be a bit of a stretch. But the point is that, like, you know, what do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? Is there a flaw in my thinking process when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh? Or am I just trying to find some fun in something I can't find fun anymore, and that's okay with that? I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think? What do you think happened to Yu-Gi-Oh? What the fuck do you think happened to Yu-Gi-Oh? Let me know in the comments, because I like to start a conversation, and I like to hear everybody's opinions on this, and I'd love to chat with everybody to see what's going on with that. So, anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed. And remember, as always, be yourselves and have a good day. Merrick out. See you guys.